price floor. Governments also commonly impose price floors. One of the most important examples of a price floor is the minimum wage in labor markets. The minimum wage law forbids employers from paying less than a minimum wage W. Minimum wage laws date from 1894 in New Zealand, 1909 in the United Kingdom, and 1912 in Massachusetts. The Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 set a federal minimum wage of 25 cents. Today, the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. The statutory monthly minimum wage ranges from the equivalent of 19 euro. I think that's euro. The statutory monthly minimum wage ranges from the equivalent of 19, some foreign currency sign, in the Russian Federation to 375 euro in Portugal, 1,154 euros in France, and 1,466 euros in Luxembourg. If the minimum wage binds exceeds the equilibrium wage, W superscript star, the minimum wage causes unemployment, which is a persistent excess supply of labor. Superscript 25. The U.S. Department of Labor maintains at its website, dol.gov, an extensive history of the federal minimum wage law, labor markets, state minimum wage laws, and other information. For European minimum wages, see fedee.com/minwage.html, where the minimum wage applies to only some labor markets, Chapter 10, or where only a single firm hires all the workers in a market, Chapter 15. A minimum wage might not cause employment. Card and Kruger, 1995, provide evidence that recent rises in the minimum wage had negligible at most effects on employment in certain low-skill labor markets. For simplicity, suppose that there is a single labor market in which everyone is paid at the same wage. Figure 2.15 shows the supply and demand curves for labor services, hours worked. Firms by hours of labor service, they hire workers. The quantity measure on the horizontal axis is hours worked per year, and the price measure on the vertical axis is the wage per hour. With no government intervention, the market equilibrium is E, where the wage is W star and the number of hours worked is capital L superscript star. The minimum wage creates a price floor, a horizontal line at W. At that wage, the quantity demanded falls to capital L sub D, and the quantity supplied rises to capital L sub S. As a result, there is an excess supply or unemployment of L sub S minus L sub D. The minimum wage prevents market forces from eliminating the excess supply so it leads to an equilibrium with unemployment. The original 1938 U.S. minimum wage law caused massive unemployment in the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. Superscript 26, which reads, see minimum wage law in Puerto Rico in the supplemental material to Chapter 2 in my Econ Lab's textbook resources. It is ironic that a law designed to help workers by raising their minimum wages harms some of them by causing them to become unemployed. Minimum wage laws benefit only people who manage to remain employed. Superscript 27, which reads, the minimum wage could raise the wage enough that total wage payments, W capital L, rise despite the fall in demand for labor services. See problem 40 at the end of the chapter. If so, workers could share the unemployment, all working fewer than the number of hours they desire, and all workers could benefit from the minimum wage.